some of the receiver departures in the portal. How are you guys planning to manage essentially snaps just with the scholarship guys you have left?
Yeah, I mean we'll just utilize them, all the roster, all the positions. We have plenty of good players that will be available to play in the game, and so what that looks like, how we kind of deploy the personnel. Yeah, we certainly wouldn't want to let our opponent know what that looks like, but we'll have plenty of good players that will play in the game, and we'll maximize the guys that we do have.
Is one of those guys potentially Jalen Mbakwe? Is he someone that can maybe get some looks on an offense?
Yeah, I mean he's certainly a talented player. I mean he returns punts. He's someone that's familiar with having the ball in his hands, and so he's a guy that like I said, we'll kind of explore all options, relative to who's on the roster and how we can best maximize those guys for the game, and certainly he's somebody that, like I mentioned, has familiarity with having the ball in his hands.
With Justice in the portal, does it feel like Richard Young is really ready to take this next step and become a focal point in this offense?
Yeah, I mean we have a lot of trust in Richard, and he's maximized the opportunities that he's had so far this fall, and we have full trust and confidence, with him in the game to do his job and do it at a high level.
So looking past just this bowl game, but in the future, with Mbakwe in terms of what he can do offensively, like have you guys started those discussions yet, or where's that at?
Well, I think it's a little early to really have kind of a crystal clear vision of what that would look like, other than we know that he's a talented kid, he loves this place, and we're glad that he's here, and so what that looks like in the future, ultimately the players decide what their roles look like and by what they do in practice and in the off season and those types of things, but we're excited about the potential of him, having an opportunity to get the ball in his hands. Like I said, he's somebody that's returned kicks for us already. That's not something new to him as far as that goes. And so, time will tell, but we're excited that he's here.
With the portal being ever present and trying to game plan for a bowl game, what's your workload like, and how difficult is it to try to compartmentalize and make sure that you're able to accomplish both?
We don't really look, I mean, everybody has challenges in their job, and so you just attack it, and I really choose to focus on the guys that are here, and there's a lot of great kids and a lot of great players, and so we don't we respect everyone's decision. These are the rules that is happening right now in college football, and everybody's situation is different, and we have respect for that and appreciation for what they've done during their time here, and I think everybody recognizes what the situation is and the timing of it for bowl games, and so just manage it the best you can, and super excited about the guys that will be available and that will be playing in the game, and we wish players that have left our program, we wish them the very best too, and that's just the reality of it. We care about these kids, we love on these kids, and we want them to be happy, and we want them to have the opportunities that they're looking for. And so that's just what it is, in today's college football. And so we don't look at it as challenging. I mean, it just is what it is, and focus on the guys you have and get them ready to go play in the game.
What have you seen from Daniel Lewis and kind of how he's grown over the course of his career here? And also, I mean, how important is it for you guys to have him back?
I think Danny's somebody that has, size and length, in the C gap, and the ability to block, the C and D gap. And I also think he's somebody that has, a big catch radius, strong hands, friendly target for the quarterback. And so I think he's continued to improve. I think Coach Ellis has done a great job. I think some of the older guys that are in that room have just, enhanced, the quality of the room from top to bottom. And so I know he's excited for, opportunities in the future. He'll have to earn those, but certainly there's great opportunities for him. And he's played good snaps for us this fall, against good people in critical moments, and has done well in the roles that he's had.
Not the first time you'll coach against your alma mater,
Yeah.
but what is that like for you?
I mean, this will be the seventh time, so I think what, this sport, it's really about people. And so I'm excited for our players on our team, to have an opportunity to have, two, very tradition-rich programs get a chance to compete on a national stage. And so I would tell you that it's not, at this point, it's, it was a long time ago when I played there. There's been a lot of transition. I certainly know people that are still there, know coaches on their staff. But when the ball gets kicked off, you're competing and you enjoy that competition and you respect your opponent and the quality of not just players, but coaches that you're going against. And that's really what you look forward to is the competition.
We've asked Kalen this a couple times, but from your perspective, what separates Keelan Russell as kind of a prospect, as a quarterback, as a guy, and then I guess what's kind of the game plan in terms of when he gets here to, I guess, kind of get him the ground running here?
Well, there's no freshman that we bring here to wait. They're all, every freshman that we bring them in here to compete right away. And, some positions that's more challenging than others. But, we're going to try to get them, as ready as we can as quickly as possible. That's no different for any player in our program, is we're trying to get them to play their very best each and every day. And so for a freshman, that's not that different of a process than for an upperclassman that's looking to take the next step or have an increased role. And I think the thing, like all great players, is always the character of the person. I think he's got very good leadership. He's a good kid. He loves to compete. He's confident. He certainly has the traits of somebody that you'd be excited to add to your program. And he knows he's got to earn it. And that's ultimately how you develop the trust amongst your team and amongst your teammates, is by what you do, not by what you say.
On the quarterbacks, is there a specific number you guys like to have on the roster, or does it kind of depend just on the situation?
No, I mean, everybody would ideally have 4 scholarship quarterbacks. So is that always going to be the case? I think every situation year to year is a little bit different. We've had years where there's been 3. We've had years where there's been 5, but ideally you try to have 4 to have a healthy competitive, room, 1 in each class typically, but it doesn't mean that you have to, and so I think at any position you have an ideal number that you'd like to have the depth and the competition that you're looking for, and yet some years there's maybe 1 or more at another position, and you just kind of manage that and try to make your roster top to bottom as competitive and as deep as you can.
Last 2 for Coach.
Kind of off that, just the depth of wide receivers kind of shrunk a little bit to the transfer portal. What have you really seen from Rico Scott?
Yeah, I think Rico's a really exciting young player, and I know he's excited for the opportunity, and we're excited for him, and we have a lot of trust and belief in him. He's a player that, even throughout his time here in scrimmages and opportunities where he's gotten out there, he's done a real nice job. He's made plays, he's executed at a high level, he's dependable. Even in the games that he's gotten into, he's done a nice job. And so he's a tough, smart, dependable young football player that I think is really excited about the opportunity.
What have you, obviously there could be some movement in terms of, guys going to the NFL on the offensive line, things like that, but what's kind of the game plan from a coaching perspective at kind of furthering the depth of options on the offensive line?
Well, you're exploring everybody's familiar with the avenues that you have to, add players to your roster. Certainly you have the high school, route, where you sign high school players, and then there's obviously the portal where you're exploring those, players that are in and deciding whether or not, they can help your team. And so that's really the 2 main ways that you kind of identify it and look at it. And just like every position, we're, around the clock evaluating that and who's available, and do they, fit from a culture standpoint, do they fit from an ability standpoint to help your team.
Thanks, y'all.